All right, we are back and we are live. What is going on, you degenerates? It is NFL Week 2. Week 1 was an absolute roller coaster. The dogs were absolutely barking. I tried to tell all of you, just real quick, I have to brag on this, Gino. Week 1, underdogs and the under on the parlay, 6-10 overall record. $100 bettors are up $1,186. The crazy thing is 37% hit rate.
I was going to brag for you.
18% is break even based off of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We doubled the hit rate off of that, up 11.86 units, 75% correlation. That means when an underdog won outright, 7.5 out of 10 times, that game also went under. I think there was only 1 or 2 dogs that won outright where the game went over. So a very strong week 1. That actually carried me in week 1 because I didn't do so hot on my against the spread picks. So the fact that I put a quarter unit on every single game, blindly taking the dog in the money line, I almost broke even. I lost 0.4 units in week 1.
Why not 2 units?
I should have went 1 unit on that. I'd be up a fortune, but I'm just glad I made it through the week. Lots and lots of stuff to go over. We have Josh Allen, the most pitiful performance I've ever seen. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions last night. Maybe that's a good buy low spot coming into this week. We'll get into that here a little bit later. The 49ers, though, I got to hand him the mic and let him brag because my Eagles, even though they won, they didn't look great. So I'm going to hand it over to Gino and go ahead, do your thing, say what you want about them.
So the Steelers were like the little darling this offseason. Everyone was saying how the Steelers are going to get everything in line, how Pickett's going to make Purdy look embarrassing like the last overall pick. All I will say, I was front row, 50-yard line at Pitt. Shout out to the fans. Only a couple were jerks. Everyone else was pretty cool. We look very hungry, very aggressive, very fast. And thanks to my homie, Hargrave is a monster. I always feel like I'm saying his name wrong. Hargrave, whatever dude's name is, he is an absolute bus stop in the middle of our already good run game. So I won't make this a Niners show. Maddie won't make this an Eagles show, but these are top 5 teams in the NFL. No one would argue that. So you will hear a little bit about it.
They definitely look good. Let's talk about the Jets real quick. Aaron Rodgers, hate to see it, goes down. The Jets have to be absolutely devastated. They paid him $75 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. Got to feel bad for A-Rod. Got to feel bad for the Jets. It was insane that they were able to rally last night. I couldn't believe it. I actually had the Bills minus the 2.5 on my card, but I had the Jets money line and under in a system parlay like I'm doing all season. So it kind of evened out for me. But I don't know, man. I think this Jets team, I think they're going to look for quarterbacks. And I think they should give Zach Wilson a shot, bro. I really do. They have a good run game and a good defense. Let the kid cook. Let's see what he can do. I mean, everyone hates him. Everyone thinks he's pretty bad, but that's just my 2 cents.
I'm going to turn the clock back 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with that Jets field. The Niners had 3 players leave 2 years ago. Again, sorry to make this about the Niners, it's just top of my mind. That field has more injuries than any field in the league. Something is wrong with that field.
Yeah.
I don't know what they got to do. Like, I don't know how they test that. Or they just tear it up and put it back down. There have been more injuries on that field than any other field in the league. It's insane. Something's wrong there. And then going a hair further, homie from high school, I say homie loosely, I'm cool with his brother, Bakhtiari tweeted out about it. They're tearing up all the fields for grass for the World Cup in the U.S. So they're saying, wait, if you can do this for the World Cup, why can't you do this for us?
Yeah.
He has an argument.
Right.
So I'm curious what they have to say to that. I didn't know they were tearing them all up for the World Cup. That was news to me.
Right.
So
that makes sense. All right, I got a question for you. 1-word answer, no explanation. Are the Dolphins now a lock to win the AFC East based off of Rodgers going down and Josh Allen looking like shit? Yes or no? 1 word. No, I like it. I agree with you, and I think the Bills could be a good buy low spot. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some Thursday Night Football. The people want some picks. Brad, this isn't letting me go to the right here. Never mind. Now we're good. All right.
Woo!
Let's get and dive into Thursday Night Football. Check out those graphics.
Look
We
at
are
these
now
graphics.
live. We decided that you guys don't want to see our beautiful faces as much. You want to see what we're talking about on screen. So now we are showing you the spread, the money line, and the over-under. And our new format on this show is we are breaking down every single game of the game slate, which I talked to Gene about this past week. I think that's what you guys want to see. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can scroll the chapters on the bottom of the screen because we know that you guys have limited time, and this show is usually about an hour long. So if you just want to check out a few of the games on the slate, you can easily navigate to do that now.
Bro, you're a man of the degens.
We're doing it. So let's get and dive right into this game. The Minnesota Vikings are a 7-point underdog at my Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under 48 and a half. It is now down to about 48, looks like. 44% of the bets are on the ticket, or 44% of the tickets are on the Minnesota Vikings on the spread. 56% of the tickets on the Philadelphia Eagles spread. Now, some trends for you. The Philadelphia Eagles 15-4, coming off of a win, and my Eagles did just destroy the Vikings last year 24-7 in Philly.
And that 24-7 is misleading. Y'all own them way harder.
It was bad. It was
way
bad.
harder than that.
Now, we do have some injuries. Fletcher Cox, James Bradbury, Kenneth Gainwell, all questionable here. The Vikings, on the other hand, coming off of that week 1 upset, losing to the Bucs in Minnesota 20-17. So, Gino, I ask you, are you buying on my Philadelphia Eagles to blow out this Vikings team just like last year? Or is this maybe a revenge spot for Minnesota against my Eagles that didn't look so hot last week? Jalen Hurts, admittedly, I'll admit he missed a lot of easy throws and reads last week. Tried to force a lot of balls to his favorite targets when he had wide open guys down the middle of the field. What do you think in this game?
So the Eagles have a new offensive and defense coordinator. They're going through the problems the Niners went through the last couple of years where, we did so well that people bought up our guys. So this will be a square play for me. You guys be careful when I say square play. I'm not saying I'm not betting it. I'm just saying be careful. The systems don't back it. Mm-hmm. I like the Eagles here, and I'll tell you why. I think the Eagles are going to start snowballing. I don't think they're going to be crazy hot this week either, just like they weren't last week. But I think they start snowballing from here. I think they start clicking, finding who they are, and establishing that their defense is as good as Tampa Bay's with a better offense. Now, and this is home, all of that. I do like the buy low spot. People are going to be insanely low on the Vikings. I just don't see a way that the Eagles don't win by 10. I just don't. I still think the Eagles are super cheap in the division and a bunch of things. So this won't be one of my biggest bets. But Tuesday, if you make me bet this, I'm betting Eagles -7.
Yeah.
Technically, I would say the better bet here, probably over 48. I'll fade the half a point lost on early bets.
Yeah. So first of all, Julio, thanks for the question. Anything player prop related, guys, save your questions to the end of the show. We're going to bring our guy Trevor on, who specializes in DFS and player props. But look, here's what I'll say about this game. Strangely enough, I would like the Vikings more if the Eagles put on a really good performance week 1, right? The problem is the Eagles looked not that great in week 1, and it's a weird spot now to take my Eagles. Look, every time I bet the Eagles, they don't cover. When I don't bet my team, like last week, they covered by a point. They cover usually when I don't bet them. This is a spot where I totally agree with you. I don't see a ton of value on either side. Yeah. I think this over makes a ton of sense. And look, this is coming from a guy that hates overs. NFL overs is the most disgusting bet in the world. Every degenerate loves taking it because you like to root for points. I'm taking the dogs and under all season. This is a game where I do lean over. The Vikings only scored 17 last week against the Bucs at home. But if you look at the box score, like Kirk Cousins threw for 344. They did not play badly. They couldn't get any run game going. Yeah. I think they had 40-some yards, somewhere between 40 and 60 total rush yards. The Bucs historically have a good run defense. So now, with that said, if the Vikings do not get a run game going in Philly, we're going to trash the Vikings. Like the Eagles are going to run them over. So they have to establish some run. If they get some run game going, I could see a lot of points both sides. But again, my lean here is the over. I wouldn't touch a side here on the spread.
Yeah, and I also think, guys, don't downplay the fact that the Eagles went in to New England, right? That's a top defense historically. They had a lot of time to prepare with a new offensive coordinator and new defensive coordinator, and they still squeaked out a win. So I'm buying a snowball effect here. This will be one of my square plays, the Eagles. So I like the over too, even though we've gained a half a point, which usually early leans to anti-sharp.
For sure. So Jamie asked, so Eagles in the over, question mark. That's our lean, honestly. Again, I would stay away from a spread here, but it seems like our lean's on the over. Our consensus lean is on the over, and then I think Gino maybe a small play on the Philadelphia Eagles.
And for all you dudes that love teasing, the over's a little high here to have it in a Wong, so be careful. But yeah, technically Eagles -1 does. I put an asterisk next to the Wong.
You can see like a 24-17 game, right? Would still have it on.
Yeah, the Wong. Yeah, the Wong is in general, they don't want you using it when the game's over 44. Yeah. So at 48.
So explain what a Wong is to people that don't know.
Yeah, no sweat. So a Wong teaser is when you're taking a favorite that's -7 to 9, or an underdog +1 to 2.5. And the reason you do that with the over under, I think, is 44 and 44 or less. The reason you want the less points are more valuable in that game, but you still get to add 6 to each score. The reason the Wong has been, historically speaking, the only profitable way to tease is you cross over 3 thresholds. The 3, 3.5, and 7, the most popular ways a game ends. Obviously can't end at 3.5, so 3, 4, and 7.
I like it. All right, let's dive into Sunday. Good game here to start the day. Let me scroll to this one. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go. I was going to say this one is man.
Yeah. All right, let me give you the breakdown real quick. So Green Bay Packers, a 1.5-point road favorite here with the Falcons as the small underdog. Over-under was initially at 41. Looks like it's already down to 40.5 here. Now, a 50-50 split on ticket count here, which I thought was pretty interesting. The Green Bay Packers are coming off of a 3-touchdown performance from Jordan Love, who looked great in week 1. The Falcons coming off of that 24-10 home win against Carolina. However, that score is a little bit deceiving. It was close most of the way. Now, on the injury side of things, Aaron Jones, Quay Walker, and Christian Watson all questionable for the Packers. Cordarrelle Patterson, Jeff Okudu are both questionable for the Falcons. So I ask you, Gino, are you backing this Falcons team to get it done at home, or you think Jordan Love's the real deal and the Packers are able to cover as a road favorite here, which is pretty crazy to me?
So I gave out, boringly enough, Packers as my dog of the week last week. They came through. I also gave out Falcons as a really good Survivor League pick because I'm not that high on that team. So it's hard, right? Because I bought both of these teams last week, so I'm not really ready to sell either of them. If I look at this game, I would say the best bet to me is actually the under 40.5. So I don't have a team selection here. I'm going to watch. Maddie told you it's a 50-50 split. I'm big on line movement and watching how the ticket distribution comes in. This one, I don't have a team lean on. I just have an under 41 lean to start, or under 40.5. I do think Love will regress a little bit. This Falcons defense super solid, and I've been buying this Packers defense all along. I forget what show I was on, and I said I think the Packers have a top 3 defense, and everyone in the show laughed. But now I'm the one laughing. I'm just playing.
After 1 week of football.
Yeah, after 1 week.
You know what's interesting to me is this over-under at 40.5. The Packers last week almost put that up themselves, right?
This is begging people to go over.
Yeah, 100% agree with you here. Now, Atlanta historically has been a pretty solid home team. And, this spread is really out there to me. It just is. The Chicago Bears defense last week looked really bad. So we have to ask ourselves, is this more about the Packers looking good or the Bears looking really bad defensively? I think Atlanta can hold the Green Bay team to under 20 points in this game.
I'm 100% with you.
I really do. So I could see like a 2017 type of game one way or the other. So I definitely lean the under here. I want to see line movement on this one throughout the week. I really do. So when I give you guys the tickets on each game and I say, hey, the Packers it's a 50-50 split, I'm just giving you the tickets right now. It's not the money, just to be clear on each game. So the tickets have looked like a 50-50 split right now. And I think that This is it's just a really interesting spread.
Yeah, and if you guys made me like for Maddie's system, this one to me jumps out as one of Maddie's that will hit this week. Mm-hmm. Just the Packers squeaking out an ugly ass win at home to the under. So, but
Falcons, you mean?
Falcons, sorry. Yeah, at home. Yeah, my favorite Falcons 100%. My favorite play right now, though, is the total here on the under.
Yeah, and this is a good question here. Can the Packers stop the run? Because the Falcons only threw the ball 18 times last week. That's a very, very good point. And let's see how the Packers did against the run with the Bears real quick.
Yeah, and also they were able to contain Justin Fields, who is a running RB1 basically for that team. So, the way he performs, he breaks good runs. So the question is, can they stop the run? No, I don't think they will. That's why I like the clock ticking in this game, and that's why I like this under so much. I think this is going to be one of the grind out games. It's going to, people don't love watching games that, end in 2017. Right. But you'll hear me reference that number often. That's just usually it wins you an under. So I'm expecting a little regression from Love. I do feel like the Packers is a bit square side here. I was so high on both teams last week. It's hard for me to abandon one so quickly. Mm-hmm. But making me lean, it's under first by far, and then secondly, it's Falcons.
Yeah, I think this is a game where if the Packers don't win the way they do in week one, there's no chance in hell the Packers are -1.5. I would love to see what that look ahead line was going into week one for week two, because I guarantee you that if the Packers don't do what they did last week, they're a 2 to 3 point dog here.
Yep, makes sense. I mean, if this is week one, they're a 2 to 3 point dog.
Right. So we'd have to figure out what that look ahead line was.
And to Maddie's point, guys, don't draw too many conclusions. Like, Maddie and I give out a lot of content. Maddie and I talk a lot about power rankings. I was sitting here yesterday making my power rankings, and every other comment is, how do you have the Bills higher than the Jets? You can't let 1 week shake up your whole world. This is the Any Given Sunday NFL.
It's the not for long league.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why power rankings just mean neutral field. A lot of things you don't plan for 4 turnovers and stuff. So all that said, I do think you're getting a very high value on Atlanta here.
100%. Also, guys, just in case you're curious, when you see the money line on each of these games, the reason there is no variance there is because we're using betopenly.com. So that's a peer-to-peer betting site. That means if Gino likes the Packers, he can put $100 on the Packers. If I like the Falcons, I can match his bet and put 100 on the Falcons. And essentially the winner would come away with 98%. So betopenly.com if you'd like to sign up. Let's get a move on to the next game of the Sunday slate. Oh, the Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay Bucs. The Bears are a 3-point underdog here on the road at Tampa Bay. Over-under sitting at 41.5. 58% of the tickets so far have been bet on this Bears team, with 42% on the Bucs. Very, very interesting to me, with the Bears looking like shit and the Bucs getting that upset, right? The Bucs are coming off the 2017 win at Minnesota. However, and I said this earlier on the show, they gave up 344 passing yards through the air to Kirk Cousins. They did, however, hold them to 41 rushing yards on the ground. That Bucs defense is always really strong up front. The Bears defense, on the other hand, got torched by Jordan Love, giving up 3 touchdowns and 38 points. Now, something to watch out for in this game, and you need to monitor this throughout the week. Levante David is questionable with a concussion. That's a really, really key injury there. I think he had 8 tackles last game before he got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. And against, look, you can say what you want about Justin Fields, but the dude's an athlete and he's fast. And if Levante David is out, that is a key matchup to look for, right? If he's not in the game, he's not able to get the Justin Fields. So it's just something to kind of think about there. Bears, on the other hand, 6-13-1 against the spread off of a loss in their last 20 games. Pretty poor right there. But again, they're pretty poor against the spread, or really in most games. So Gino, you ride in this Tampa Bay Bucs team off of the upset win in week one, or do you think the Bears could bounce back here?
I'm buying the Bears here.
Really?
I'm buying the Bears money line here too. Yeah. So you guys are going to hear Maddie and I talk about systems casually that you guys can track on your own. We try and keep them really easy worded, because there's a lot of systems that take a lot of work, right? Like if the local wind is over 20 miles an hour, the home team and under hit. You can't follow that unless you do the research. But really stuff that we want Maddie and I want to educate you on is what we call buy low, sell high. That's what you're dealing with right here. The Packers went on the road, the Tampa Bay Bucs went on the road and won. Chicago was home and lost. So people are high on Tampa Bay and off the W, low on the Bears. And you get a team playing each other in a buy low, sell high. And I believe the ideal situation is actually the high team is going back home and the low team's on the road. So all of that aligns to get you a lot of value on the Bears money line. I'll tell you right now, I would not take the Bears +3 here. I just see no value in it. I think they have over a 40% chance of winning this game. That makes it EV positive for me getting these Bears. It's crazy to me that they are -3. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little surprised that this isn't the Bucs -1.5. I think that would still divide the public. And that money line's generous. Like I like the Bears anything over +125, 126. So 142 to me is a gift.
Yeah, well, something to think about here. The Bears are coming off of a division loss against a team that really knows them well. Now all of a sudden you're going to Tampa Bay. You're a 3-point underdog. I'm 100% down to take the Bears as a dog on the money line here, especially if Levante David isn't playing. I just think that, again, this is a buy low spot on the Bears, and we're kind of selling the Bucs here after that huge upset win on the road at Minnesota.
And I did a little research for my homie Maddie. Like a lot of people are going to watch Maddie do dogs to the under, and every week they're going to miss it, and every week they're going to say they should have jumped on it, and every week they're going to correct him when it's a red week, even though he's already up a bunch of units. I looked up last week one, so this week, yesterday or whatever you want to call it, was one of the best 3 in the last 15 years. So what I do, I immediately looked at week 2. And week 2 immediately performed, if not better, equally when week 1 was that good.
Really?
Everyone in the world's like, okay, got it. Now the overs are due. The overs aren't due. They aren't due at all. So all I'm saying is this game, I believe the Bears bounce back. I genuinely do. And to Maddie's point, it's hard to judge teams based on division rivals. And man, do the Packers have the Bears number. And they've had it. That coaching staff has had their number for a while.
Right.
They just have a different – you go into – it's like the Niners with the Rams. You just go into there expecting to win. This is a totally different matchup. Nothing in common with Minnesota and the Bears.
No, I 100% agree with you. This is, to me, the perfect buy low spot. Again, I want to monitor that injury report throughout the week and keep an eye on the movement and the money. But this is a spot we'll have to come back to. Let's get and dive into the next game. All right, we got the Seattle Seahawks versus the Detroit Lions. Go ahead and pull that one up.
Oh,
this is all right, the Seahawks right now, a 5.5-point underdog on the road at Detroit. Over-under sitting at 48.5. 72% of the tickets so far on Seattle, with 28% on the Detroit Lions. Is that surprising to you?
It's not surprising to me, to be honest. Everyone watched the Lions win in primetime to kick off the season against the defending Super Bowl champs.
Right, 28% of the tickets are on the Lions.
Oh, 28, you're saying.
That's
I'm sorry,
what I'm saying.
I thought you said the opposite.
Now, again, this is filmed on a Tuesday. It's very early.
My bad, brother. That is insane.
That was surprising to me. Now, injury-wise, Jamal Adams is questionable after not playing in week 1. Seahawks coming off of the 30-13 loss to the Rams last week. Geno Smith threw for only 112 total yards. Lions are coming off of a fortunate upset win in Kansas City, right, that I benefited very well from after that tipped ball pick 6, 21-20. And now guess what? They have a few additional days of rest since they played in that Thursday night opener. Lions 11-3 against the spread off of a win in their last 14 games. You know what? This team just they know how to ride momentum, right? They cover the spread or they win. 11-3 after those wins against the spread. So they ride momentum and wins very well. They're a team full of energy. However, they're only 3-12 straight up at home off of a win. So does that make sense to you? So basically, long story short, this Lions team has not been very good historically the last couple years. So what that means basically is they've been very good at covering the spread after a win, but they haven't been good at winning games straight up after a win. So with all of that said, this spread, the Lions are -5.5 at home. And now, granted, this is a different Detroit Lions team this year. They're favored to win their division, and people are very high on them. And the Seahawks got embarrassed last week. Let's call it what it is, 30-13 at home to the Rams. A lot of people seem to think this was the year Geno Smith would make the leap, and Pete Carroll and this team would be right back into the mix of things. But the Rams came in as a dog and beat them. So what are your thoughts here?
Oh, man. So this one's crazy to me because the question was, is Geno Smith like, what did he say? What did he call himself? Like, they got my number or call me, or what, they didn't call me, or what was his quote?
I didn't call back or something.
Yeah, I called and they didn't call back or whatever.
Something like that.
Oh, man. This goes all the way to like, was Russell not that good? Was it always Pete Carroll? Like, there's a lot of narratives here. Man, I'm surprised that more public's not betting Detroit early. That's all I'll say. And again, to Maddie's point, it is Tuesday, and a lot of you degens come crawling out hungover Sunday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I'm not surprised that the sharps are on Seattle, and that's what it's telling you. I'm surprised with the ticket. This is another buy low, sell high. Unfortunately, in this instance, Seattle's the one you're buying. The difference with me is I base my power rankings off more than any other system, and I just don't have Seattle as that good. And I have Detroit in my top 12. So this is a hard one for me to get behind, and I really don't like giving out square picks. So this one's tough. The over, I want to say, opened up at, was it 49, and it's down to 47. So a lot of the unders are getting beat up pretty early by the sharps. But this is a game where I just don't know if the Rams are able to put up that many points against Seattle. How does Detroit not? It doesn't make sense to me. Kansas City doesn't have a bad defense.
Yeah.
So this one, this is a tough game for me. If you're forcing me to bet this, this is my second time being a square, but I think I'm riding Detroit. I'm just not high on Seattle in any way, shape, or form. But I hate taking a home favorite in a buy high spot off a road lot. Like, there's a lot of reasons for me not to bet on Detroit.
This right here is probably going to be my dog of the week.
There it is. Smart man. And you're smart.
Come on. I can't. Oh, is it the Gino, you can't hear it. Here, play it again because I want to hear it. Do it again, Brad.
Oh, what does it do? Let's hear it.
Go ahead. This is my dog of the week.
I like it. I like it.
So here's why this is my dog of the week, and Gino already mentioned it.
Oh.
This is the perfect buy low spot on the Seahawks. How do we look at the Seahawks coming into the season?
Yeah, the top 15 team.
Pete Carroll, Geno Smith going to take the next leap. The Seahawks are going to be decent. They could have a playoff run. And after 1 week, we're going to sell them, and we're going to make them a 5.5-point underdog at Detroit. And let's be honest, the Detroit win was a fluke last week. They looked bad, not good. They looked bad.
Their offense didn't look good.
D-tackle out for Kansas City, right? Kansas City, Travis Kelce out too. It took a pick six for them to win that game in a primetime game. I'm telling you right now, I love the points in this game. There's the comment right there.
There it is, Ethan. Thanks.
I love the points in this game. Obviously, I'm going to be on their money line and under just because it's a system play for me all season. But this Seattle team's 100% going to make my card. And it's like what we just talked about a couple games ago. We're judging this Seattle team against a division team in a loss off very last week, right? So we got a really good buy low spot, in my opinion, on Seattle. 5.5 is way too many points in this game. So
it's a lot of points.
I do love Seattle here against the spread. That over-under down 2 points already is pretty interesting, and that even shows you that the 5.5 points is even more valuable here.
Yeah, and dude, guys, sharps are piling in on unders. I'm just letting you know. I looked it up. There was 3 years in the last 20 that had as good week one, and week two was better than week one after those 3 years. Yeah. So again, very, very micro system, but it just means that too many people come in and expect a bunch of overs just because of how week one went. So yeah, like it's hard for me. Again, I'm going to give you guys plays on every game, but just know that these aren't like my official plays. We'll go way deeper into that. I'll give you all plays, but Maddie and I are going to do every game. I just have Seattle low in the power rankings, but I did not like the way Detroit's offense looked at all. I did not like Detroit's offense at all. To Maddie's point, 5.5, 6 is a lot of points to give this Seattle team in a buy low spot.
See, those types of comments are exactly why I like Seattle.
Exactly.
I mean, logically, Cody's 100% right, but those are the exact spots I love.
That's where the value comes from, Cody.
Right.
Your logic is 100% sound. It just kills the value.
100%. All right, let's move on to the next one. Chargers versus Titans.
Oh, man.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
Chargers right now, a 3-point favorite on the road. Tennessee, the 3-point dog at home, plus 160. If you'd like to take them on the money line at betopenly.com. 43% of the money is on the Chargers. 43% of the tickets, on the Chargers. 57% on the Titans. Austin Eckler is questionable in this game with an ankle injury, so make sure to monitor that this week. The Chargers are coming off of that 36-34 loss against the Dolphins, where Tua looked like essentially a prime Drew Brees. The Titans are coming off of that 16-15 loss versus the Saints. Now, the Chargers 1-3-1 against the spread on the road after losing at home. Now, granted, losing at home to the Chargers is like a neutral or a road game to them, but the Titans, on the other hand, 4-10 off a loss in their last 14 games straight up, right? So the Titans are kind of a team that a little opposite of the Lions, right? Like they when they're down, they're down. Like if they've lost a game, they're 4-10 in the last 14 games after a loss. So that when things get bad for them, they continue to kind of snowball and get worse. The under has, however, hit in the Titans' last 5 straight games off of a loss here. That number, 45.5, is something to look at. So I ask you, are you back in this Chargers team -3 on the road, or is this a bounce-back spot for Tennessee after blowing that game really in New Orleans?
Oh, man. So the Chargers cost me more money last year than any other team.
Really?
They lost so many games that I thought they should have won. Goes all the way back to, I think, week 2 in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Man, this is tough. These are two teams that I think, both underperformed week 1. You like Miami, right? So you like Miami having a good playoff run. Like you like Miami, and you feel good about them after that game, right? I picked
Dolphins Eagles Super Bowl.
That's you feel good about them. This is one for me that, man, it's Titans at home for me. Like this New Orleans defense is freaking good. The Titans were able to go in there, compete up until the very end. They lost.
Game frustrated, man.
Oh man, that game cost me
because so Tennessee covered the spread last week.
Yeah, but I had a money line.
Tennessee money line with the under, and it was 17-16. So I just needed the Titans to inch it out, and that dog and under parlay would have hit. You know what's interesting is, could you see this narrative playing out? If the Chargers lose this game, they're 0-2. If the Chiefs lose at Jacksonville, they're 0-2. Right?
I know. The West is what happened to that
and then
powerful
the Jags
West.
Would be 2-0.
Yeah.
Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to have to clip this?
We're going to have to clip this,
when
dude.
That happens.
Man. This is a tough spot for the Chargers to be in. Going all the way across to the Titans, who played a very tough game versus a very hard defense. Man, I think Tannehill's going to look good in this game. I really do. So I lean home here.
Yeah.
I lean home and dog here.
Tannehill might be a good DFS buy this week after last week, playing horrible in a low-scoring game, coming home against a defense that just gave up 1,000 yards to Tua, what it felt like. Tannehill could have a good game here. And there's a lot of chatter about, like, hey, this Tennessee team is good every year, and Tannehill is the one problem. Like, everyone's like, we just got to get rid of the quarterback situation.
He played terrible.
Put in a new quarterback. Tannehill is streaky, though. He can look good.
I know.
He can also look not so good in this game,
I think both of his interceptions, he was targeting his new wide receiver too.
Really?
Which means he was forcing the ball a little bit to try and get DeAndre Hopkins bought in. It's interesting. This is going to be a good game.
Good comment from Steven here. Good insight. A West Coast team, 1 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast.
Yeah, this is a tough position for the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I could see the Chargers not scoring a lot here on the road in Tennessee. I lean the under in this game. I think, again, the under is hit in the Titans' last 5 straight games off of a loss. What does that mean? Is when they lose and then the very next game, they buckle down on defense because they know it's important. And Tannehill struggled. So I think 45.5 is kind of a big number here. I could see like a 20, maybe like a 21-20 or a 24-21 game where it basically just goes under would be my lean. Any last thoughts on this one?
No, this game's the Chargers drew a tough card here. I don't see any sharp position here either way. I think the true line is the true line, and that's where it is. I don't see money to be made on that game.
Makes sense. All right, let's move on. Indianapolis Colts -1 on the road here in a division game. -116 on the money line, +116 on the money line at Bet Openly for the Texans. Over under 40 here. 71% of the tickets are on the Colts, 29% on the Texans. Texans are coming off of a 25-9 loss to the Ravens, with the Colts coming off of that 31-21 loss to the Jags. So two desperate teams here, down 0-1 in a division game in week 2. Anthony Richardson is questionable with the knee injury. Honestly, I thought he looked pretty solid last week.
He was playing pretty good.
I thought he looked pretty decent. Now, granted,
he got lit up, though.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll have to monitor how he's going to look. Now, with that said, if he can't play, you got the best backup QB in the NFL. Do you know who that is?
What's the dick? The other dick from Philly.
Gardner fucking
Minshew,
baby.
Mustache
magic.
Minshew.
Insert Gardner Minshew and watch the magic happen in this game. I could see it happening. I 100% could see it happening.
So people are betting the Colts early on this one?
Say it again.
People are betting the Colts early on this one?
So 71% of the bets are on the Colts so far.
Minshew didn't look good when he came in. Man.
But granted, he come in mid-game in the red zone. I think he was in the red zone, right? When he came in. Yeah, dude, at the end of the game, we didn't even talk about this bad beat, bro. I had Colts +4.5 on my card.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Bender had put something out saying they had like a 89% chance of covering going into the fourth quarter. They're up, or maybe late in the third quarter. They're up, what was it, 24-21 or 24 something? And then they end up losing 21 something. They end up losing 31-21. 4 plays, I think 3 or 4 straight plays at the end of the game for that backdoor cover. What were they on, like the 1 or 2 yard line? The 3 yard line. They can't get in the end zone. I was absolutely fuming. But anyways, Texans 3, ready for this? Texans 3-17-1 at home off of a loss in their last 21 games. The Colts, on the other hand, 8-1 against the spread versus the Texans on the road in their last 9 games. And remember, the Colts have not been this juggernaut the last few years.
Yeah.
After the Andrew Luck era, like they haven't had stability at the quarterback position or really in their organization at all. So for them to be 8-1 against the spread versus this Texans team on the road is pretty impressive. So I asked you, Gino, what are you backing in this game, or where do you at least lean here?
Yeah, the best system for me in this game is a home division dog, and that's Houston. And that's just a system where weeks 1 through 8, if you have a home division dog, you take them and you don't blink. So I can't get away from that. And you really want systems like that in your back pocket. You're going to have them lose, like home division dog, the New York Giants. Didn't work out. But if you look at it, you also had the Cleveland Browns. Worked out pretty well. So this is that system that I would talk about. I do think systems are getting a little too common, that they actually are taking away points. I'm super curious what this would have been if AR5, his name's AR5 now, AR5 didn't get hurt. But this is one of those Texans are winning and just on that system.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ugly.
It's
ugly.
What do you think of the total here? Because honestly, if Anthony Richardson doesn't play, you got Minshew back there slinging the rock. And Richardson is gonna run a lot more clock, But if you put Minshew back there, it's gonna be a passing attack, right? So I don't know. I mean, look, dogs and under all season for me, but this is a number where I think it's gonna keep creeping down lower and lower.
I do like the Texans head coach is the Niners' old defensive coordinator, D'Amico. So I do think they will come prepared on defense, the Texans. Man, this is such a hard one for me. Texans played okay, boringly okay, and the Ravens, the score looked better than they actually were.
Yeah.
They held the Mark Jackson to like 160 yards. So, man, this is one of those ones where it's just so ugly and it's priced right. It should be 40. Like, is it going to be 2017 or is it going to be 23-20? And I just don't want to. I don't want to get caught costing y'all money on games that I just really don't have a lean on. But if you made me bet this, I'm betting Texans to the under, and I'm throwing Matty a bone on his system.
Yeah, I mean, look, C.J. Stroud last week, not bad, not great either. 242 passing yards, 5.5 yards on an average play. He did get sacked 5 times, had a 78 quarterback rating, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he couldn't win the game. He didn't really lose the game either. You're playing at Baltimore in week 1 as a rookie. You got to ask yourself now, coming back to home in Houston, right? Can he have some more success here? So something to think about here. This is a game I just pass altogether. I'm going to play my dog and under system, but I just don't see much value in it at all. So,
and these young kids will, they'll start to get comfortable. I think I was pretty clear last week why I gave out Atlanta.
Yeah,
was because the 1 overall pick was on the other side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So Stroud wasn't far behind that.
100%. All right. This right here is my favorite bet of the week. I'm not going to give it to you yet. I'm going to give you the analysis, and I'm going to ask Gino if he can guess what I like here.
Yep.
All right. Ravens plus 3.5 at Cincinnati. Bengals minus 160 at home on Bet Openly. 62% of the bets are on the Ravens here. 62% of the tickets on the Ravens on the spread here. 38% on the Bengals spread. Mark Andrews and Marlon Humphrey are both questionable here. The Ravens coming off of that 25-9 win over the Texans. But honestly, I didn't think they looked that impressive in that win. Bengals, on the other hand, are coming off of that 24-3 ass whooping in Cleveland. Some trends to look at in this game. The under has cashed in 17 of the last 22 Ravens games after coming off of a win, right? The Bengals, 3-1 Bengals are 3-1 versus the Ravens at home in the past 3 seasons. So 75% of the time, the Bengals have beaten the Ravens at home. Ravens, ready for this? Yep. 7-12 against the spread off of a win in their past 20 games. You can probably guess who I like here.
I like the Bengals.
I love the Bengals in this spot. This is my absolute buy low spot of the week. And again, I hate betting favorites. I hate contradicting my system play. But man, do I love this Bengals. I in a sick way, I find so much comfort in taking teams minus 3.5. Most logical people would say, why would you want to take a team minus 3.5? You want a team minus 2.5 so they can win by a field goal, or minus 1 so they can win by a field goal. I love taking teams minus 3.5. It shows me the line is that way for a reason. This Baltimore team, 7-12 against the spread off of a win. And last week, they didn't look impressive in that win. And this Bengals team, we've seen it before. Joe Burrow has these terrible games in the season. But if there's anything we know is the Bengals will bounce back off of those losses. I think the Bengals wax the Ravens in this game. I don't think it's close. I think it's a double-digit win.
I like it. I like the Bengals here for a lot of reasons. I really do. You don't want to start the season 0-2 in your division if you believe that division is yours to take.
Yeah.
This is a big game. This is why football is the best sport.
This is a huge game. You go down 0-2. The Ravens are 2-0.
Yeah,
and the Browns, who do the Browns play this week?
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
The Browns play –
they're at Steelers.
At Pittsburgh. So, legitimately, if the Bengals lose this game, the Browns and the Ravens could both be 2-0, and the Bengals could be 0-2. And that's a tough hole to dig out of against 2 teams like that in the AFC North. So, that's a tough one. But so, it seems like we're aligned on the Bengals here. What are your thoughts on that over-under? Because to me, it's like I could see this Bengals team holding them to like 10 to 14 points. As crazy as that sounds.
Oddly, because people are pretty low on the Ravens offense and non-existent Bengals offense, this is one of the ones where I lean over again. You're going to get some unders from me at the end of this game, but just coincidentally, this is arguably my favorite over of the week. That like the Bengals come up and put up 27, 30 points. Ravens match with 17-20, just because it's sitting so high. I make my own lines and odds. I'm amazed that this didn't open up at 43.5, 44. And I believe the books are that good about steering people. And man, I'm surprised. And I believe it even opened up at 45.5 and moved to 46.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that now here.
Yeah.
It opened at 46.5. It's down to 46. So maybe you hope that number gets to like 45.5, 44, 45.
Yeah. People just see that goose egg, from Bengals. They see Ravens doing nothing against Houston.
Yeah.
Injuries. Oh.
Yeah. I don't like I'm not touching the total in this game.
Yeah, you don't like having, and for y'all out there, if you hammer a game, if you're betting both the over, under, and the game, dude, there's only a 1 in 4 chance you win both. So be careful with that.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 times
I do
like
the Bengals -3.5. Again, I love those -3.5 numbers. I believe that was one of my only against the spread wins last week at the Falcons, right? Falcons -3.5.
Yep.
So I love that number for whatever reason. I'd love to see historically how the -3.5 have covered over the last 10 years. I think that'd be interesting. All right. Here's what I believe the absolute game of the week here. This is even on the thumbnail of our episode. I love this matchup. Chiefs -3 coming into Jacksonville. Over under 51.5 here. Let's obviously monitor that number throughout the week. 76% of the tickets are on Kansas City. 24% on the Jags. I got to be honest, I thought that would be a little bit closer just because of how much preseason hype is on Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Now, again, it is Kansas City, but I thought that would be closer to like a 60-40 split. So we'll see how that plays out the rest of the week as this is filmed on a Tuesday. Travis Kelce is questionable, but we anticipate him playing because he just barely missed playing last week. So logically, we think he will be there. Chris Jones got his contract figured out, so he should be playing. The Chiefs now, the one thing to look at in this game, they're going to have an extra 3 days of rest, right? So you always have to factor that into your handicap here. Jags are coming off of the impressive 31-21 win at Indianapolis. What do you like here, Gino?
Jags money line.
I'm 100% with you.
I'm Jags money line.
And I faded the Jags in week 1.
I'm Jags money line. The public, whether they're going to tickets or all that, I'm telling you, if you talk to the average bettor, they're saying Kansas City ain't going 0-2, and the only reason they lost to Detroit was missing X, Y, and Z. I think I'll quote myself last week. No one believes the Chiefs can lose. No one believes the Chiefs can go 0-2. They absolutely can. And that's where we're at. Yeah. And they're going into a very tough Jacksonville team that Jacksonville, dude, they got a chip on their shoulders still, right? People still talk about the Jags and Lions as like those, the Browns, like those failing organizations that can never get jobs done. This is a chance for them to establish. They got lucky to cover last week, in my opinion. It sucks that this is a buy low on the Chiefs, sell on the Jags. But this will be the second time that I'm not buying into it. Those systems have, they have asterisks. They have exceptions to the rule. And I believe the Chiefs will be one of the most heavily bet teams this week. And I love favorites. I love fading favorites on the road.
Yeah. Look, you give me plus 160 on the money line in this game, and what's going to probably be
you might get more, brother.
Yeah, we have to monitor that throughout the week. But I'm with you, bro. This is a game I'm very hopeful and optimistic that the dog and under parlay cashes. Like I would need like a 26-24 type of game where Jacksonville edges it out. That's what's going to happen in this game. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen in this game. Jacksonville's going to be down 24-23. Trevor Lawrence is going to march them down the field, and they're going to hit a game-winning field goal, and they're going to win this game. What did I say? 23-24. So they're going to win this game 26-24. Jags money line and the under is going to cash. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and I also think, guys, if you believe us, you should bet Jags right here at plus 158. There's no way. You might have to get this at Jags plus 125 at kickoff. Now, I never underestimate the power of the public to get behind arguably the best player in the league, Mahomes, not going 0-2. But, man, are you getting value here at plus 158. Did I already give my dog of the week?
No, you got to say it when the game comes up. What game is it? Point to it. This is it?
I think you just got it.
There you go.
Put my name next to the Jags. The Jags money line are my dog of the week. I gave out Green Bay last week, so I know that's boring. But I told y'all I won't do that. I won't find 1-point dogs every time. I'm not that cowardly. This at 158 is a steal. This is gonna first kick. The coin's gonna flip at 125.
I like it. I think we're aligned here. We're both on the Jags. I lean. I wouldn't want to touch the over-under on my card, but obviously I have that on the system play. But I think that number is pretty accurate.
Yeah, it feels right.
Is it weird? It's not like 53 to 55 range.
I think they're not impressed with the Jags offense.
I mean, they put up 31 on the road.
No, I know, but it was the way they did it. They had 17 going into the fourth.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just depends on what you. Sometimes the results versus how it happened are just totally different.
Right. No, it makes sense. All right, we have Gino's home. We have the Homers team over here, the San Francisco 49ers. I already let Gino brag early in the show, so there's no more of that.
I won't do any more of that.
All right, but I gotta ask you, bro. 8 points on the road in a division game here. Now, that said, the Rams did win on the road, so it's not like it's a buy low spot on them here, right? They were able to upset Seattle in Seattle. So you got to ask yourself now, is that a 49ers hat?
No.
I was going to say,
keep it light.
I was going to say, take your 49ers bias out of the equation here. Is 8 points too many points on the road here in this division game?
It's not. It's not. And I'll tell you why. The Niners have the Rams number. Even though the Rams beat us to go to the Super Bowl, which is the only thing that matters, even though I think we were 2-0 on them that year.
Yeah.
We had a 2-0 sweep. That was about to be a 3-0 sweep. So they got the last laugh that year. I think we won minus that game like 7 of the last 8. So we take over their stadium when we go there. So it's like a home game. They try everything to keep us out. They don't. I gave this out at 7, and I promise you, I don't give out plays on my team that are biased. I only deal with numbers. The Niners have the offense and defense to put the Rams back in their place for what we all expected the Rams to be this year. And we hold grudges. Our team is bitter and has a chip on their shoulder. And our offensive line is our weakness.
Hold on, I got to call you out for a second. You said you only play numbers, and then you said your team is holding a grudge.
Yeah, that's fair. But I only play numbers when I give it out.
I feel you.
I believe we run up this score.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to call me out always. So I'm just telling you guys the truth. I think they're going to have a lot of problems scoring on us. I genuinely put the Pittsburgh offense next to this Rams offense. I really do. I don't think either one's better or worse. And we dominated every inch of that game. Some of the syndicate plays I had, some of the early systems I had people putting in the Niners -7 early. They were putting this bet out yesterday night. Mm-hmm. So if I had to give you crazy details, the Niners are going to put up 27. And I do not think the Rams are able to score more than 17 on us.
Yeah.
So that's where I see this game. 27-17, we cover. It's on the nose for the over-under.
Yeah. Well, so far, 71% of the tickets have come in on the 49ers, 29% on the Rams. The 49ers are 14-5 against the spread, coming off of a win in their last 19 games and 12-2 straight up. This is a ton of points, though. I'm a little torn here. I probably lean San Francisco, to be honest with you guys, but it is a tough spot. Matthew Stafford threw for 334 yards last week. 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, but he didn't really have to do much.
I know.
He moved the chains when he needed to, averaged almost 9 yards per throw, 91 quarterback rating. They scored 3 touchdowns on the ground, right? So, now they ran for 92 yards. You got to think the Niners are going to hold them to 60 70 yards. So that's something to think about there. And then can Stafford do enough and make enough plays here to cover the spread? So I'll tell you one thing. If LA upsets them, it's going to be because of defense. And if that happens, my dog and under plays cash in. But this isn't a game I can see that happening, man. I told Gino this last year at the show, because we were used to debate on Brock Purdy. I think he's a fucking G. I believe in that dude long term. I thought it was crazy talk when they were talking about going away from him and all the different things.
Oh my God.
But I think he's special. I really do. So this is a tough one for me. I lean 49ers minus the points. I won't be surprised if this number hits 9+. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree that this will kick off at 9, Niners -9. And I'll tell you the last thing I'll say about this game, just the breakdown. I genuinely believe our wide receiver core has stepped up. Even our third receiver, Jawan, is quality. They lost secondary, these Rams. Mm-hmm. So I was amazed. They did a decent job against Seattle. I thought it was more a reflection of Geno not performing, not the entire Seattle team. Mm-hmm. That's why, oh man. Yeah, and there's so many reasons to like this game systemically, to like the Rams.
Yeah.
But I do think the Niners clearly emerge as the number one team in the NFL with back-to-back complete dominance on both sides of the ball, special teams, sound football, just like surgically dissecting the Rams and frustrating them. 27-17 is my final answer.
Maybe like a 27-10 with like a backdoor, not
something
a backdoor,
like
but like a last.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We will see.
I think we frustrate them.
Yeah. All right. We got the Giants versus the Cardinals here. Oh man, let's get into this one. Giants. Let's look at this logically for a second. The Giants, after losing 40-0, are now. I see 5.5 points. Maybe that number's 4.5.
Yeah.
Check it out for me.
Yeah.
A 4.5 point favorite on the road at Arizona. 4.5 is the number. Over under sitting at 39.5. 77% of the tickets are already on the Giants. So the public, maybe they know the systems. Maybe the public is like, hey, teams that lose by 40 historically do well the next week. I don't know. I think the social media videos are starting to get the people. 23% of the tickets are on the Cardinals. Giants coming off of that embarrassing loss, 40-0 against the Dallas Cowgirls. The Cardinals coming off of the loss, 20-16 at Washington. They covered the spread. Now, I will say one thing about this game. The Giants, I believe, have more injuries than the entire NFL right now. I saw 8 or 9 key injuries they had. And the Cardinals look pretty healthy. They don't have a great team, but the team is at least healthy. Cardinals 3-14-1 straight up at home off of a loss. The Giants, on the other hand, ready for this? 28-14 against the spread on the road after a loss. What do we know about the Giants? They're very well coached. After a blowout loss, they should be able to bounce back on the road here. And what better opportunity to bounce back than the Arizona Cardinals, right?
Oh, you're right.
So a system we used last year, and forgive me because I didn't write down the exact wording, but the gist of it, you take teams coming off of embarrassing blowout losses. I forget the exact number. I think
it was over 16 points.
It was well over that.
I think it was over 18.
I think it was in the 20s, but
that's insane.
I'll have to get you guys the exact number. But I can promise you the Giants qualify under this system.
Yeah,
it was profitable last year. I believe it was around a 60% hit rate. So I asked you, Gino, who you back in here or who you lean on?
Yeah. So let's give y'all like multiple systems and show you how things go in one way and then come back the other way. So that Maddie's right. Good memory, by the way. I totally forgot about the system. There was a great system last year when a team had an embarrassing loss. It was called embarrassing loss, and the number was like 18-22 or something like that. So the Giants qualify for that system. Boom, hit 60-70% of the time. Put a green check in the Giants box. Arizona, home dog early in the season. I want to say it was weeks 1 through 3. Had like a 60% lick. Little, check in their box. The problem I see, and I think I said this on the first show, is if y'all made me bet a team against the spread every week, it would be the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Why? Because everyone talks about them tanking for quarterback, even though they don't need a quarterback, tanking for Caleb. This is a team that is an absolute fade the public team, the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be pretty much all year. So that's why I get so scared with games like this. Mm-hmm. But I agree with Maddie. On paper, there's all the reason in the world for the Giants to come back. And they didn't look bad. That game just got away from them.
Well, they did look bad, but the first drive, they looked really good.
And then the game was gone.
The weather, and they missed – the kick got ran back, and it was the attempted field goal got ran back. Here's the exact system. Now, granted, this does not have last year's numbers factored in, but hear me out on this. Bad offensive performance, blowout loss. The team's average points scored is between 0 and 17 is the first qualification. Giants had 0 last week, and there's only been 1 game, so that's their average score. The team is – okay, so actually this doesn't even qualify. The team has to be the underdog.
The underdog.
So the team is the underdog, and The previous game margin is between 58 and 28. So, again, this doesn't qualify. Now, here's one that will qualify. Betting against the public after a bad game. So, the game is played the team's 1 game point streak is between 0 and 9. It's at a 61% rate. So, basically, that means if the team is coming off a game where they score between 0 and 9 points, historically, the next week they cover at over a 60% rate. So, this is a tough game. The way I look at it is all systems aside, I was high on the Giants going into the season. I cannot allow 1 week in the NFL to make me jump off of that train, especially if it's against the Arizona Cardinals. What is this number if this game's week 1?
Yeah, honestly, it's the Giants minus 6.5.
Yeah.
Easily, right? And the scary part is, like, are we willing to admit this? Maybe the Cowboys just are damn good.
I'm not admitting
that. Okay. We're not admitting
Here's the thing. The Cowboys are always good. That's never been the problem. The problem is they screw it up when it counts. And that'll be either towards the end of the year or in the postseason. Right now, I should have, in hindsight, seen that coming in week 1, and I didn't. But it is what it is. All right, what's your official lean? Gun to your head right now.
Yeah, official lean here is under 39.5.
Ooh, this is a game I actually lean over.
Yeah, I gave out too many
I just see
already.
Crazy shit happening.
Yeah, I actually think the Giants defense bounces back and holds the Cardinals to under 13.
All right, very bold.
That's where, like, a really ugly, because I don't think we're going to leave that game impressed with the Giants. So 20-10 Giants.
All right, up next, we have the Commanders at Denver. The Commanders are plus 3.5, over under 39.5. Commanders at plus 173 on Bet Openly in this game. 62% of the tickets are on Washington, 38% of the tickets on Denver. Jerry Jeudy is questionable, however, in this game, so we'll have to monitor throughout the week. Commanders, as you know, coming off that 2016 home win where they sneaked one out against the Cardinals. Broncos, on the other hand, coming off of that 17-16 home loss against the Raiders. Dogs in the under, baby. That was a nice winner. The Broncos are now 7-15 straight up off of a loss. But the under has hit in 13 of their last 20 games when they're coming off of a loss. So when they lose a game, they really buckle down on defense the game after. Do you think 3.5 in this game is too many points, though?
I do. This was one of the – so even though I gave out the under in Denver Raiders, I was dead wrong. I disrespected Jimmy. I said he'll need the Niners defense and he'll miss it and he's not winning this game.
Yeah.
They won. So what I will say here, man – the Broncos just can't get it together.
Yeah.
I don't know why people keep buying into them. And these Commanders, they grinded it out, dude. They grinded out a win. I gave out the Commanders team total over preseason. I think this is a really good chance for the Commanders to win on the road.
2-0, the Washington Commanders. They were, 10-1 to win the division? And they started off 2-0?
Impressive. That would be pretty impressive. And I think their over-under was 6.5.
Yeah.
So shout out to the homie Peter. What do you call Apple? But does he have a different name for football?
He's a Commander. He's a Commander.
No, one of his biggest.
Sorry,
I'm just talking a little crap. Him and I were texting back and forth. I like the Commanders over on the season total. He liked the under. So, I actually was really impressed with the Commanders win in a crappy game. I know that sounds asinine to say, but I was, and I can't get behind this Broncos team. I'm selling the Raiders and the Broncos. I'm not buying the Raiders after that game. I'm selling the Broncos harder.
Yeah. I mean, look, Sam Howell last game, 202 passing yards, 1 TD, 1 pick, 45 QBR.
Nothing.
I don't know, man. I don't know how you can be impressed with that performance at home against the Cardinals. I know the defense has played well. It's interesting because the Broncos were minus 3.5 last week, right?
Yeah.
They're minus 3.5 again.
Yeah.
This is almost like it feels like a retry for them, right? It's like, I'm minus 3.5 week 1, can't get it done, can't cover, can't win. Now let's just play a similar skill set of a team at home, minus 3.5 again. I think Russell Wilson has to get this one done, bro.
You do?
I really do. Dude, like Russell Wilson. At what point are you going to be Russell Wilson from the past?
I don't know.
This has to be his coming out party, bro. It has to be.
So all I'm going to say, 17-16, exact score.
Oh my God.
Just Washington instead of Raiders.
I'll tell you one thing.
The Raiders defense looked good.
The over-under
Commanders better.
The Broncos game last week, was it 37?
It was low.
Bro, do you have any idea what it's like sweating out an underdog and the under of 37? I'm like, what the fuck, 37, bro? You can't even score. Like, the favorite scores like a couple touchdowns. You almost feel like you already lost.
These Commander unders are going to get you paid. 17-16, exact game, exact box score, exact everything. A second Broncos lost by 1.
That's bold, bro. This is a game I'm probably not touching minus the system parlay, but I do lean Denver. I want to see this line movement throughout the week and where the money comes in, though. Let's move on to a really good game here. We have the Miami Dolphins at New England. Dolphins minus 2.5 here on the road. The over-under sitting at 47.5. 71% of the tickets are on Miami, 29% on New England. Patriots coming off of that very close loss to my Philadelphia Eagles, with the Dolphins coming off of the impressive shootout win against the Chargers, where Tua had a ton of success, and Tyreek Hill looked like the best receiver in football, honestly. Patriots 10-4 straight up after a home loss. Dolphins are 5-1 against the spread, though, against the Patriots in the past 3 seasons. They have absolutely owned them, both against the spread and straight up. My question to you, Gino, who are you taking here?
-2 is a steal. These Dolphins are for real, and they were devastated by all their injuries last year. Honestly, I know I repeat myself sometimes when I mean this, chip on their shoulder. They believe they are better than everyone else believes they are. And, man, they believe this division's up for the taking now. Think about it. Like you were talking about, Rodgers out. Bills could not have looked worse. The Bills could not have looked worse than they did yesterday. 1-0. Dolphins, everyone else in the league division has a loss. They can go up 2-0 here, and I believe they do it. And I genuinely hate low spreads like this on the road, division, everything. The sharp money is probably going to trickle in on the Patriots if this goes a little higher, if this gets to like 3. But, dude, you give me -126, -2, I'm taking both. I think the Dolphins come out as good as they were last year, minus injuries, and they don't take anything for granted.
Yeah. Look, if this wasn't a division game, I would look at it and be like, how can you not like the over in this game? But it does scare me. It feels square to me.
That over's high for the Patriots, too. Look, what did they do to the Phillies defense?
No, I mean, they had some success, and then Miami looked really explosive offensively, and they also gave up a lot of points to Justin Herbert. So, this is a really, really tough game to me, honestly. I think the numbers are spot on. I think Miami -2 is the perfect line. It just feels like New England just can't get it done against them. I just feel like they literally cannot get it done. The Dolphins just have their number. But we'll have to see what happens in this game. This is a game that I'll probably just let the system play right out in, which, again, I could see 24-20 Patriots and the system play hits.
Dolphins are putting up 34. Everyone's asking what happened to Bill Belichick. I'm high on these Dolphins, dude. They're nasty. Yeah. Our coaching staff is spread out now. Why?
I have the future ticket. Dolphins Eagles. I think it was 50-1. Dolphins Eagles Super Bowl. Doesn't matter who wins. Just both have to make it. So we shall see what happens. All right, let's move on here. Honestly, I don't even know which one this is.
This is Monday Night Football. The only thing
that was Sunday night.
Okay, yeah, I know. We skipped the Dallas Jets though.
No. Let's see here.
That's Sunday in the day. I think it got missed. Maybe was it made yesterday during the game when the Jets were playing?
We may have missed it.
Because the Bills are playing too.
We'll bring it up at the end here.
Yeah, that's all good.
We'll just stay on track. So we got the Saints versus the Panthers up next. This is a good division matchup here. Let's see. Saints -3.5 here on the road. It looks like it's at 3 now. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I didn't even look.
Saints -3 on the road at Carolina. Over under 40. It's down to 40 now. 79% of the tickets on New Orleans, 21% on Carolina. Saints coming off of that 16-15 win over the Titans, with the Panthers coming off of that 24-10 loss at Atlanta. I like Carolina in this one.
100%.
I like Carolina in this one.
Shout out to the homie, Brad.
The Saints should not have won last week. Their defense is really good. This is a game where I would literally be comfortable betting my mortgage on the under, bro. Like, I don't think there's going to be a touchdown in the first half. I really don't. I think this is going to be like 6-3 at halftime. I think the final score could be like, I don't even know, 12-10. Like, I think it could literally be one of those type of games where one of these teams just makes one extra play towards the end of the game and wins by a field goal. That's how I look at this game.
I love this one.
I love the under.
This one's going to check all the boxes with nothing going against the Panthers. You're buying low on the Panthers. You're selling the – oh, actually, they didn't cover on the Saints. Yeah. You got a home division dog. You got a home dog in primetime. Every system checks this box for the Panthers. People are low on the Panthers. I love this Panthers run game, how they ended last season. I love their – if I had to say it, defense, as crazy as that sounds – I think they're scrappy, and I think they're going to match up really well with the Saints team that didn't necessarily click on offense. I think the Carolina Panthers defense is a lot better than the Tennessee Titans. On paper, it doesn't look that way, but this to me gives me everything, and I think the public gets slaughtered betting the Saints here. Yeah. I really do.
And the Saints are a good home team, bro. They're not like the same team on the road. Like Bryce Young is a playmaker. He's coming off of 1 TD, 2 picks. It was his rookie debut on the road. We're now going back to Carolina. We have a good run attack. We have a good defense. I like Carolina, bro. This is 100% hitting on my dog money line and under system. Probably my most confident system. Probably my most confident game of the system for the whole day. I love Carolina and the under here in this spot.
Are you Carolina money line or plus 3?
Keep this point.
Keep this point?
Keep the points.
I'm probably going to take that 3.5 hook when I get it. But I don't doubt that the Panthers can win.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. Got to give a shout out to Steve, who hit Sean Strickland on the money line, baby. Let's go. All right, here we go. So this is what game is this, you know? Steelers.
This would just be Saturday, like Monday night.
This is Monday night, so we'll come back.
We got 2 Monday night footballs.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So we do have 2 Monday night footballs. So Browns right now a -2-point favorite on the road at Pittsburgh, over under 40.5. Division game here. Steelers in an extreme buy low spot. Cleveland, on the other hand, this is the ultimate buy low on Pittsburgh and sell on Cleveland. Cleveland to beat, think about it, Cleveland to destroy Cincinnati last week. Whoa. That's just a team that has Cincinnati's number. They always crush Cincinnati. I think they were like 5-1 against Cincy in the last 6. Don't quote me on that. But Cleveland at home always destroys the Bengals, right? Pittsburgh, on the other hand, played what is arguably a top 3 team in the entire NFL. Gino will say the number 1 team in the NFL. I got to look at this spot and say, give me Pittsburgh on the money line. I can't, again, this goes back to what I say with the Giants game, right? And this Giants team in general. I can't be high on a team going into the season and then be willing to sell them after week 1 of football. I just can't do it. I still believe in Pittsburgh to have a good season. They got punched in the mouth in week 1 against San Francisco. I think they bounce back here at home. I love them. I love Mike Tomlin to get it done. I don't have any trends or stats written down on this one, but I can guarantee you Mike Tomlin historically has been pretty damn good coming off a loss would be my bet.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And what I would say here, oh, man, dude, this is such a tough game. After what Cleveland just did to Cincy, their confidence cannot be higher. Mm-hmm. And I believe we got into Pitt's head. We exposed them for all their holes. Mm-hmm. And everything I saw, even though our run talent is nasty, our offensive line is inferior than Cleveland's. Pitt's going to have a hard time with this Cleveland team. I would be very surprised.
You think Pitt's going to have a hard time with Cleveland?
I do. Yeah. I would be very surprised if the public is not all over Pitt here. Yeah. Like Pitt has just owned Cleveland for the last decade? Right. 20 years?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So this is a hard one for me. Oh, man.
So right now, 56% of the tickets are on Cleveland with 44% of the tickets on Pittsburgh. again, I think people are going to jump a little bit off of Pittsburgh here after getting embarrassed.
Holding them down too much. I agree with that.
Again, this number is not – this is another prime scenario where I think Steelers are a small favorite. If we're not last week, they might be -2.5. They might be -1.5.
There was a really good piece of data last year, guys, for teams after the Niners that were covering at like a crazy amount.
Makes sense.
Covering after they played the Niners, winning, etc. So we wear teams out. We make them look bad, and you can get extra value. So these are just tough games, guys. Like I know you want us to tell you to hammer everything and go all in.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised when either of these teams won.
Yeah.
If Pitt won, wouldn't be surprised. Cleveland won, I wouldn't be surprised.
Fair.
I don't think we know what the Steelers are yet.
Right. Agreed.
They drew a very tough week 1 card.
Did we miss a game or are we good?
The Jets at Cowboys and Raiders at Bills.
Really?
Yeah, I think he did it during the games where there's no line yet.
Okay. All right.
So I had to guess.
We're going to dive into those games right now, and then we're going to bring Trevor on. So let's go to Raiders versus Bills here. Let me pull that one up.
47 over under, and the Bills are -9.5.
Let's see. Yep. All right. So 56% of the tickets are on the Raiders here, with 44% on the Bills. 8.5-point spread over under 47. This is a game that I look at, and like literally just the other night, I'm like, Josh Allen is dead to me. I can't back him. I just cannot do it. But talk about a buy low spot if there's ever one. This is probably it, right? We're selling the Raiders after edging out a win in Denver, and we're buying on the Bills after getting embarrassed against the Jets. And honestly, the Jets defense is really freaking good. Really good. So you got to assume Josh Allen is going to come back at home here and be able to win a get a double-digit win here and cover the spread. I like the fact that tickets are not on them right now, right? Like historically, like if a team does bad one week and they come back and they're an over a touchdown favorite, I'd like to think more times than not they're going to win that game by double digits.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And then this is where I think I said it earlier.
Yeah,
I'm selling Denver more than I'm buying the Raiders. I really am. So this spread's high, guys. The spread's surprisingly high. I'm surprised this isn't 7.5. I really am. And the way the Bills fans bet, it makes me nervous. But I would not be surprised if everyone comes back and it's like, oh, that's the Josh Allen we expected.
Yeah. And the Bills, and what did you think about the Bills defense? Obviously, Rodgers went down and Zach Wilson's in, but like I thought their defense was getting after it.
They looked good up until the fourth. Right. But they were putting some bad situations.
Special teams.
Like, they were putting some bad situations
ran
too.
The kick back or the punt back in overtime, and yeah, they're definitely putting bad situations with the interception.
There were some 3rd and longs where you and I had that. If they held them, we won that game.
Yeah,
there were some 3rd and longs they allowed to be converted. So I like the over in this Bills Raiders game more than anything. 47. Just have the Bills come out and put up 33.
All right, I like it. Last game here.
Jets at Dallas.
All right, Jets
Dallas is -8.5. The over/under is 39.5.
I don't even know if I can cap a Cowboys game at this point, bro. This is really, really tough because like this would have been a great spot to back the Jets if they're healthy and Rodgers is there, right?
I know.
What's the over/under? 39?
39.5. This is for all you Cowboy fans out there. It's gonna be the rare time you hear me say this. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys, to me, are arguably the best long teaser pick I've seen in a while. -2.5 instead of -8.5. I'm gonna put the Cowboys in a lot of long teasers. Mm. I would not be surprised if the Cowboys hold these Jets to 10 or less.
So you're going under, and you're going
under in Cowboys, and you don't want to give out -8 in the under. Your window gets too small. But I truly believe the Cowboys get some rumblings going after this week where they have another ass kicking, and they give these Jets the absolute business. Now I know this Jets defense is good, so that's the last thing. Can this Jets defense hold the Cowboys to 20 or less? That's what I think they have to do.
Yeah, to
cover. Not even to win. I don't think the Jets get more than 20-13 and they cover, 20-10 they don't. Of all the over-unders I like, I love this under.
This is a game where I could see the Jets defense making a play, though. Seriously.
Yeah.
See, I think the Jets defense.
Oh, I don't want to bet the Cowboys -8.
I think the Jets defense actually matches up well with Dallas. But again, I can't really back them. If Zach Wilson on the road against Micah Parsons might destroy him.
Bro. And what I should say, I probably like the Jets team total the best. The team total under.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We're going to bring our guy Trevor on. Make sure you guys drop your DFS questions in the chat right now. If you want to know any over-unders for player props, go ahead and drop them in right now. I'm going to hand the mic off to Trevor to give us what he likes for week 2 in daily fantasy sports. What's good, Trev?
Go. Hey, how we doing, boys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they got to put some headsets on so they can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. Well, you're going to like my first pick. It's your boy. They're showing him. This is just mispriced after last week. We got Jalen Hurts for 2 touchdowns throwing. I think this is – I don't know where you guys take. I haven't got the chance to listen to the show because for those that don't know, I travel. Starlink's down worldwide, so I just had to really scramble here to get our backup internet going. So that was fun right before the show. But I'm big on the Eagles this year, as much as it pains me to say. I'm big on them. But Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns at -125. And this is a spot we're probably going to do some combo DFS picks. Him and Devonta, him and Dallas. Like, Dallas didn't get used last week.
Dallas Goedert, bro. I texted you that. I love Dallas Goedert.
His prop is mispriced at a couple places right now. So I want to see if there's any movement on it a little bit. I kind of want to see what it does and look closer at the matchup. We're just starting to get all our model projections out. But for Thursday night, I really like that. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and that just shouldn't be – it just shouldn't be 1.5 at that low of minus money. I think that's a big miss by them.
Yeah. I mean, look, the way I look at Jalen Hurts from last week is he missed a lot of reads, a lot of wide open receivers down the field because he was trying to he was consistently making up his mind pre-snap of where he was going rather than going through his progression. And he's a guy that's going to – you know damn well that exact night he was already watching tape. Like, right? He's going to go right back and watch. I can't believe I missed that throw. Can't believe I missed that throw. And he's going to make those changes going into week 2. So I love this prop. I love the Dallas Goedert prop as well. He has to get him involved. You start getting Dallas Goedert involved, it's going to open up. It's going to open up for the wideouts down the field. So I love both of those plays, Trev.
And then the team I'm buying low on this week that I think is going to get overreacted to is the Bengals. For DFS purposes, they have one of the best offenses in the league. They're playing a division rival, right? They're playing Baltimore. So last week, T. Higgins had 140 air yards and no catches. It's the most air yards a receiver has ever had in NFL history without a catch or a point. Like, he's one of the best receivers in the league. That offense, you got to remember, Joe had been hurt. He hadn't been practicing. They needed that game. They didn't look good. Their lines, I believe, when they come out are going to be too low for this matchup. And I'm going to be all over the Bengals this week. I think they're going to be really mispriced. DraftKings and FanDuel have dropped some of their DFS like pricing already. So last night I was on a show and we looked at some of their stuff and they're priced too low. So that's definitely a spot I'm going to look for. And I think the spot I'm going to fade that I think people are going to overreact to is, if you remember week 4 last year, Seattle at Detroit, right? 90 points. It was a monster from a DFS perspective. It was the game. It was literally the game of the year from DFS. Mm-hmm. And I think if people are going to overreact and remember that and go back to that game this week, when I don't know that it's necessarily going to be one of the higher scoring games on the slate.
I was telling Gino on the show, we both aligned. We love the Bengals was it 3.5? -3.5 this week, right? Against Baltimore at home.
And I love the over in that game.
Yeah, so I'm all over their props. It's interesting. We're the same thinking there. I'm gonna keep watching. I want to see, right? Like, we'll really start getting more prop lines for the rest of the week tomorrow. We just have Thursday's game so far. I'm interested to see some of the, where they drop guys that we hit last week. Dallas Kincaid got all his overs. Puka took on that role and ended up with 10 catches. I think he's at 5.5 probably this week now. And I don't think he gets close. I think our Niners are going to smack the Rams. So that's going to be, we're going to expose them for who they really are. And that's going to be a tougher matchup there. So I'm interested to see the overreaction this week now so we can counter pivot back the other way.
I like it. For those of you guys that don't know, BetOpenly.com now has daily fantasy sports, so you can go ahead over and bet on player props now on BetOpenly as well. Any questions for Trev on any players?
Yeah, they really haven't dropped us any lines yet, so we really only have Thursday so far. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really got a chance to look at everybody's lines yet. But like I said, there's some spots. I think Buffalo could be a buy spot this week too. After what happened last week. I think the Giants are going to be a buy spot. They're playing the Cardinals. The offense is talented. That was just like Dallas just smacked them. I think if they score on that first drive, I think it might've been a different game. It could have gone different, but they exposed the Giants, what we knew their weakness was going to be, which is that O-line. And, like I said, they let more people through than a Disneyland turnstile. And the Cardinals aren't going to do that to the Giants. They're tanking for Caleb. So it'll be interesting to see. I really like buying low on teams that, didn't go there, and vice versa. The opposite side of it, I think people overreact to Pittsburgh getting, smacked by us. I think there'll probably be some opportunity there in a tough matchup. Tomlin just owned Cleveland in his career. While Cleveland's good this year, right? Like, I like turning around week 2 and buying some of those spots.
I agree with you on every buy spot. We actually talked about every one of those on the show. I got to give on your Dallas Goedert pick, I got to give you a stat here you're going to like. So last year when Devontae Smith went for 0 receptions, which again, Dallas Goedert went for 0 in week 1. Jalen Hurts followed up and gave him 7 catches for 80 yards in the very next game. Jalen specifically, when stuff like that happens, he specifically looks for that player the next game, and you can only imagine he's working with that player through practice that week after that game. So I think it's a hammer spot for Dallas Goedert. I really do.
I think Swift too. I think Swift's going to be a super big buy spot. Gainwell didn't practice today. I like Gainwell. We took advantage of his line. We knew the Eagles, from all the reports, were going to use him. I like Gainwell, but he's not a bell cow back. He doesn't get, yards. He doesn't break yards after tackles. DeAndre Swift is dynamic, and they traded for him for a reason. And, Gainwell didn't practice today. I think the Eagles would be crazy to not make him their bell cow, make him their one and move forward. But I think there might be a buy spot for DeAndre there too.
I like it. Appreciate it, brother. Thanks for coming on. For everyone that's listening, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. So make sure to check us out on all 3 platforms.
Appreciate all you, my dudes.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back toward the window, crushed out a cigarette, faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. In his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold up, know when to hold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Done.